Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to do our playoff predictions for 2023. So, of course, this is my third time ever doing it ever since I opened my channel. I opened my channel back on the very second to last day of... I opened my channel on the second to last day of 2020. Of course, I did playoff predictions, and I did them in 2021, and I did them last year, so... Of course, this is my third... Of course, I've been on YouTube for 2.5 years now, and I've done them every single year since I've opened my channel, and this is my third time. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get going. Here's your playoff field for 2023. William Byron, Martin Truex, Danny Hamlin, Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Ross Chastain, Brad Keselowski, Tyler Reddick. I did not have a number 45 for 2311, so we'll just use this as Tyler Reddick. Logano, Blaney, McDowell, Stenhouse, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse, Kevin Harvick, and Bubba Wallace. So, yeah. Anyway, let's waste no time. Let's get into it. So, for Darlington, I think... So, of course, round one is Darlington, Kansas, and the Bristol night race. A pretty straightforward round. Of course, for Darlington, my guy I have winning at Darlington is... I have no other than the regular season champion. I have Martin Truex Jr. winning at Darlington. I've got Martin Truex Jr. winning the Southern 500 and moving on to the next round. And then for Kansas, I have Kyle Larson winning at Kansas and making it to the next round. Then for Bristol, I have Chris Buescher winning at Bristol, moving on to the next round. So, these three are locked into the next round on a win. Of course, moving on to the round of 12, a pretty safe bets are Byron, Kyle Busch, Hamlin. Of course, I got Logano moving on to the round of 12. So I've got 7 guys here moving on so far. I've got Harvick moving on to the round of 12. So I've got 8 spots filled. I'll have Ross Chastain moving on. I've got Blaney moving on. And I've got 2 more spots to fill. I think, who am I going to go with moving on to the round of 12? I'll take Brad Keselowski and Christopher Bell to move on to the round of 12. So it means our eliminations for the round of... From the round of 16 is I've got Tyler Reddick. I got Tyler Reddick being eliminated after the round of 16. He got that win earlier in the year at COTA, but hasn't really shown a lot of winning speed this year, other than road courses, and their first round does not have a road course in it. So that's why I have Tyler Reddick being eliminated after the first round. He got that win at COTA, but that was a road course. There was no road course in the first round. And that's the only place he's had strength really all year. So I'm taking Tyler Reddick to be eliminated after the first round. Then after that, I'm taking Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell, of course, like I said, same thing about Reddick. He is a great road course racer. Of course, Michael McDowell won the Indy road. Of course, Michael McDowell won the race. He won the Indianapolis road course race. And I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. I thought he actually did deserve that win. It's not like he got there and stole at the end. He did a good... Michael McDowell, of course, did lead a good portion of that race and won it. But it's the same thing with Reddick. there is no road courses in the first round or super speedway, so that's why I have him being eliminated. Then I've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. being eliminated in the first round. He's in because he got the Daytona 500 win. I think that's the only reason why he's in. And knowing how many times he makes mistakes and all that. I'm sorry, but Ricky's only in just because he won the Daytona 500. And to win the Daytona 500 in a team like JTG Doherty and make the playoffs, yeah, you're going to be eliminated in the first round. So that's why I have this. That's why I have Stenhouse being eliminated. He was an easy pick. And then my final guy I have being eliminated after the first round is Bubba Wallace. First ever playoff appearance, but of course he pointed his way in. Now, Kansas is in the second round. Kansas is in this first round. He did win there last year on talent. He could prove me wrong. But yeah, he's only in on points. I really think he'll get eliminated just because he's in on points. But he could prove me wrong and win. So yeah, but he's the only guy in on points, so that's why I got him to be eliminated. But he can really prove me wrong. And this is just predictions. I'm not saying this will happen. So, there you go. You've got Reddick, McDowell, Stenhausen, Bubba Wallace being eliminated after the first round. All right. Here's the round of 12. With these guys still remaining to race for the championship. So, the round of 12, the second round, consists of 3 different types of tracks. Texas Motor Speedway, Talladega, and the Charlotte Roval. So, this is pretty much a wild card round. This was a round that I had this is going to be a hard round to predict considering, how Texas Motor Speedway races, of course. And then there's Talladega and Charlotte Roval. You can't depend on Talladega, and the Roval's always a wild card. So, yeah. Anyway, here we go. Time for the start of predictions for the round of 12. Alright, so for Texas Motor Speedway, I am having a playoff guy winning that. I have William Byron winning Texas and moving on to the round of 8. Getting his 6th win of the year. He dominated Las Vegas very early in the year and won there. And then, of course, he also won at Darlington earlier in the year. And he also won Atlanta, which that is a super speedway. But yeah, 3 out of his 5 wins have came on 1.5 tracks this year. And yes, I know Atlanta races like a super speedway now, but the other 2 have been on his dominance and performance. So yeah, I've got William Byron winning Texas and moving on to the round of 8. Then for Talladega, I've got Ryan Blaney. I've got Ryan Blaney winning Talladega. He came so close to winning it last year, of course, Blaney made it to the round of 8 last year without a win at all. I think he'll get Talladega. Now, of course, Talladega, it can be anybody's race for a win, and of course, he was there with Bubba and Kyle Busch he was there right there to get the win during the spring race. So, I have Ryan Blaney winning Talladega because he came so close to winning it in the spring. And, of course, he came so close to winning it last year. Now, it's Talladega. Anything can happen. But I definitely think Blaney has a good shot. And I think he possibly will get the win. So I'm taking Ryan Blaney to win Talladega. Now, for the Charlotte Roval, I am actually being serious. I am taking a non-playoff guy to win the Roval. I am taking no other than Chase Elliott. I am taking Chase Elliott to win the Charlotte Roval. He is a non-playoff guy, but I think, of course, his best success comes on road courses. His best success all year came at Watkins Glen, one of his best tracks, and the Charlotte Roval, which I consider his best other track. He put on a good show, came close to winning it last year if it wasn't for those late race cautions. So yeah, I'm predicting Chase Elliott will win the Charlotte Roval. So that means, I'll put him up here, we've got 6 spots to be filled That means there are 6 spots up to be filled with points. Safe bets, Martin Truex Jr. will move on. Kyle Busch. Will move on. Joey Logano. Kyle Larson. I think Chris Buescher will move on too. And I've only got one more guy making it. I've got one more guy making it. I think Danny Hamlin will make it. So that means for the round of 12, the 4 guys I have being eliminated after the Roval is Kevin Harvick. He got it on points. I think the first round, the reason I'm taking Harvick to be eliminated because, of course, the first round, there's 16 guys in the playoffs, so you can pretty much make it through the first round on points for the most part. I think Harvick is safe to move on past the first round, but the second round, I'm sorry, but for Harvick's final year, I don't think he'll move on. There's Texas Motor Speedway in this round, which he could win that. He's won that race 3 times, but knowing Texas Motor Speedway last year, and ever since the debut of the next-gen car, it's a broken track for it. I just don't see Harvick making it past. Now, he got a second-place finish at the Roval last year, but Harvick, I just don't... Of course, Stewart-Haas... Now, of course, Harvick's not... I think Harvick's going to be eliminated. It's just... Not just him, but the way Stewart-Haas Racing has been this year. They've been an awful team. Harvick got them in the playoffs. I think Harvick will be safe to go past first round without a problem, but come the second round, no. It's just been the performance of Stewart-Haas Racing this year, and knowing this round, anything can happen with Texas Motor Speedway being broken, Talladega and the Roval being a wild card, but I think Harvick will get the elimination, so I'm taking Harvick. And then I'm taking, the next guy I have being eliminated is Ross Chastain. He got that win in Nashville this year, which is an intermediate track, but Nashville races totally different than Texas Motor Speedway. And there's Talladega, which he does have a win at. And there is Charlotte Roval, which he does have a win on a road course, but Chastain's been having a little bit of a hit. Chastain hasn't really been putting up, other than that Nashville win, he's only had like 1 top 10, I think, after that Nashville win. All the way from Nashville to the last race at Daytona for the regular season. So I think Chastain's a little bit like Harvick. I think he's safe to move on past the first round, but the second round, no. So I'm taking Ross Chastain to be eliminated past the second round. Next up, I'm taking Brad Keselowski. Of course, Brad Keselowski pointed his way into the playoffs this year. But I think he's like the other two. I think there's enough guys in like Stenhouse, McDowell, who are not racing for such great teams, that he'll be fine to move on past the first round. But the second round, it's like the other two. Now, to where his teammates gotten 3 wins, where his teammates won the last 3, where his teammates won 3 of the last 5 races, but yeah, I think Keselowski will make it fine past the first round, but the second round, no. Now he has Texas, of course, Talladega. He is a 6-time Talladega winner. He definitely could win. He has a good shot of winning that. He is a 6-time Talladega winner. He has of course, he has no win at Texas Motor Speedway or the Charlotte Roval, or no road course at all for Brad Keselowski. So that's why I'm having Brad Keselowski being eliminated after this round. And my final guy I have being eliminated is... My camera will want to focus, please. Is Christopher Bell. He has that 1 win at Bristol Dirt, but ever since that, he only has 2 top 10s. 2 or 3 top 10s. And to where his other 2 teammates, like Truex and Hamlin, have more than 1 win. Of course, Bristol Dirt it's its own thing, and he dominated that. But after that, he's only had 2 top 10s. And I think he's like the other three. There's enough guys in the playoffs like Stenhouse, McDowell that he'll make it through the first round just fine. Now, of course, there is Talladega in there. Anyone can win. Now, the Charlotte Roval, of course, is in this round, and he won that. And of course, he won that race last year, thanks to a couple very late race cautions. If that race last year went green all the way, he wouldn't have won it. It would have gone to Chase Elliott. Of course, Christopher Bell stole that Roval win away, thanks just to those two very late race cautions in an overtime. Christopher Bell kind of stole that one away. Now, not saying he could win, but he could prove me wrong, so that's why I have him being eliminated after the second round. So there you go. There you go. The next 4 guys that will be eliminated after the round of 12. All right, here we go. The round of 8. Here's your round of 8. Now, the round of 8, of course, consists of 3 tracks: Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Homestead, and Martinsville. 2 intermediates and a mile and a half. All right, so here we go. For Las Vegas, I thought about taking William Byron because he dominated there and won there in the spring. But, of course, that was very, very early in the year. Things have completely changed by then. More teams have figured it out and more teams have better shots now at winning, dominating races like he did in that spring Vegas race. But now it's the fall race. There's a lot more teams that have figured things out by now for the season. So for Las Vegas, I am not taking William Byron. I am taking no other than the hometown hero. For Las Vegas, I'm taking Kyle Busch to win Las Vegas and lock him a spot in the Final 4. Kyle Busch does have that win at Gateway, but doesn't race anything like Las Vegas. But I think Kyle Busch has figured it out, making it all the way this round, and he'll get his 4th win of the year with Richard. And he'll get his 4th win of the year and his 4th win ever with Richard Childress Racing. And I think Kyle Busch will win Las Vegas. So I'm taking Kyle Busch to win Las Vegas and lock him a spot in the Final 4. Then for Homestead, I have Kyle Larson. He dominated this race last year. He's always a threat going in there. And I think Kyle Larson will win Homestead like he did last year. Now, of course, he was eliminated by that point. But this time, I think he'll win again. But this time, he'll win and make it to the Final 4. Unlike last year, he won. Of course, he won Homestead last year, but that was, of course, after he got eliminated. But I think this year, he'll do the same story, win that race again, but this time it'll be a different story. He'll win that race, and Kyle Larson will win that race and lock him a spot in the Final 4. I'm taking Kyle Larson to win that race. So for Martinsville, I am taking Martin Truex Jr. to win Martinsville. He won there in 2019, 2021. He won there in 19 and 2020 and 2021. Of course, those were 3 years he had good seasons and made the playoffs. I think now, of course, last year he didn't make the playoffs at all. He did not win a race at all last year and missed the playoffs. But this year, I think he's going to have a bounce back year. He'll win at Martinsville, a place he's won at least one of the 2 races in the last 4 out of the 5 seasons, including this year. That this will be his 4th win at Martinsville. If he'll get, so I think Martin Truex Jr. will win Martinsville and lock him a spot in the Final 4. He always wins at least one race there every year, ever since 2019, when he's having a good season. So I think Martin Truex Jr. will win Martinsville, a place he's good at, and give him a spot in the Final 4. So that means 1 spot is up for grabs on points. I could take Denny Hamlin, but I don't think Denny Hamlin will get it. I think, of course, last year he was just very close to making the Final Four until Chastain did that move. So I think it's going to happen to him again this year. So I'm taking Denny Hamlin not making the Final Four. Chris Buescher, of course. I'm not taking Chris Buescher to make the Final Four. Now, he did win Richmond this year, but Martinsville race is completely different than Richmond, even though it's a short track. And his other 2 wins was at Michigan and Daytona super speedways, big tracks. I think Chris Buescher has all those wins and stuff now. I think Chris Buescher's wins is more than enough to get him all the way to the round of 8, but I don't think he'll make the Final Four. So I'm taking Chris Buescher to not make the Final Four. And I'm not taking Joey Logano to make the Final Four. The only win he had this year was Atlanta, and that was the super speedway. Now, he could... I'm taking him to move on without a win. Without a win throughout these playoffs all the way to... I am taking him to go through the first 2 rounds without a win and make this round, but I don't think he's going to make it. Of course, the Penske Fords have been quite off this year. I don't think Logano's going to get to the Final Four and have a chance to defend his title from last year. So I'm taking Logano to miss it. And I'm taking Ryan Blaney to miss the Final Four. He had that win at Charlotte, but of course, Penske only has 2 wins this year. Austin Cindric hasn't won a race. That could change with Talladega, but I don't think Blaney, considering the year Ford's had and Team Penske's had, I don't think Blaney's going to win a race. And I think he's got enough to make it all the way to the round of 8, but I don't think he's going to make the Final Four. So that means the other guy I have making the Final Four is William Byron. William Byron's had a good year. He's got, up to this point, of course, he has that win at Texas to make it 6. I think all the wins he got throughout the regular season and all the success he's had, I think he has enough to make it to the Final Four. So, yeah. All right. Here is the Final Four for Phoenix. Kyle Busch, Larson, Truex, and Byron. So, here we go. First pick. I think out of those Final Four, I don't think Kyle Larson will win it. He's had a good season. He did clinch a win at Homestead to get his 3rd win of the year and make the Final Four, but of course his other 2 wins have came at short tracks like Martinsville and Richmond really early in the year. Now, and of course Phoenix doesn't race any, of course in Phoenix doesn't race similar to any of those tracks. But Kyle Larson getting that win at Homestead making the Final Four, but I don't think he's going to get the title. So that means Kyle Larson won't win the title. I'm really sorry to say this, but William Byron, you've had a good year and all that. Now, of course, William Byron did win Phoenix back in the spring. And, once he got up front, he dominated, led that race. No one could run him down. But, of course, it's the same thing like I said with Las Vegas. That was the 4th race of the year. We're now all the way into the playoffs. A lot of drivers have figured, of course, early in the year, it's different of who's dominating than what it is when we come to the playoffs. I don't think Byron's going to get the title. So, of course, he dominated that spring free. It was like I said with Las Vegas, where he got there and dominated that race and won it. It was the same thing with Phoenix too. He got there, dominated, and win it, but that was the third. That was, of course, the 3rd and 4th race of the year. This is the 36th and final race of the year. A lot more teams have figured things out by then. There's more guys, things have completely changed by when playoffs come around to where, the start of the year comes. Drivers will figure things out throughout the year and figure out how to dominate and win races. So, I'm sorry, but Byron, you've had a good year. I don't think Byron's going to get the title. So, it's going to come down to these 2. Honestly, I don't have Kyle Busch winning the title in his first year with Richard Childress Racing. A good year. You've had 4 wins, but you won an Auto Club, Talladega, and Now, Gateway does drive a little bit similar to Phoenix, but I really don't think he's going to get it. So, sorry, I don't have Kyle Busch winning the title. So that means I have Martin Truex Jr. winning the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series Championship. I think Martin Truex Jr. will win the championship after having a very late... Of course, I think he's going to bounce back and have a totally different year than what he had last year. Last year where he didn't win a race at all and missed the playoffs, I think this year is going to completely change. He has 3 wins to his credit right now. But up to this point, of course, I had him winning another race or two. I think Truex will win the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series Championship. So that means Martin Truex Jr. is your 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion. So, yeah. Alright, guys. I hope you enjoy these playoff predictions. We'll see what happens throughout the playoffs. We'll see how many I get right, how many I get wrong. And so, yeah. Alright, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Bye.